Good evening, everybody. It's almost an oxymoron, isn't it? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Board of Adjustment meeting for the city of Bettendorf for January 9th, 2025. First meeting for the year. Roll call, please.
Gallagher,
Yes,
Spranger.
Here.
Tansey.
Here.
Tomberg.
Yes.
Vermillion.
Here.
we're all here. This is the Board of Adjustment. We're a 5-member board. We're appointed by the mayor to serve and to rule on items that are properly before us. Number 3 on the agenda is the board to review the approval minutes of the October 10th meeting. Do I have any additions or corrections to the minutes as published?
No.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the October 10th, 2024 meeting.
So moved. No second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Minutes are approved. Election of officers. I'll call for the election of a chairman.
I would move to say that, Bob, you remain the chairman of the board.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Anybody else want the job?
Good try, though.
Okay. All those in favor of myself remaining as chairman, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Then we normally appoint an assistant chair. Do I have a nomination for the assistant chair or vice chair or whatever?
I nominate Gwen again. She's done an
Outstanding
outstanding
job.
Yes, second.
Any other nominations? Hearing none. All those in favor of appointing and Gwen as the vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimously approved. The board to hold a public hearing on the following. It's case 25001-VAR 5690 Devil's Glen Road. It's an A2 district. It's a variance to allow a 6-foot-high fence in a required front yard along Fieldsyke Drive, and it's submitted by Carlos Caldron. Staff report.
Mr. Chairman, this location is along Devil's Glen Road at the intersection with Fieldsyke Drive, 5690 Devil's Glen Road. It's an A2 Rural Residence District zoned area. The variance request is to encroach into that 40-foot front yard setback with a 5-foot-high fence. And it's governed by the zoning ordinance for that district. A2 setback 40 feet and fence height limited to 4 feet within the front yard setbacks of any district. Essentially what you have is an area here that's neighborhood light. Everything up here is residential, single family, and also along here. This is an A2 area that was incorporated, and some of these lots still have septic on them, so that's why they're A2. And we have UMI right here, just to this area here, this Glenbrook Ridge additions, certain mixed uses there, R2 here further to the east, and then PR3 district over to the northeast, R1 to the north. This is the petitioner's sketch, and these red areas here are the fence areas that he's showing. He's got one here that will not encroach into the front yard, and that will be 5 feet in height. And essentially, he's trying to contain this area. There's already a fence line right here. It's the neighbors, and then he's fencing this entire area in here. This is approximately where the house sits. And he's proposing 5 feet, 72 feet in length, and then an 81-foot long fence essentially within this area, and 24 feet right up on the property line for the 5-foot height of that particular fence that is encroaching. And this diagram shows right here is your setback line. Here's the other 5-foot-high fence at 72 feet, and then 81 feet distant. 44.5 feet approximately of this diagonal encroaches into the front yard. And then there's a 24.5 feet right here for the proposed 5-foot-high fence. The area here in blue and yellow right here, the area he wants to enclose, can all have 5 feet high fences. It's when he gets up here that this is restricted to 4 feet in height. So what we're looking at is that he would have to, under the ordinance 11-11B-12L, fences and walls, Fieldsyke Drive would have to be considered to be either a minor collector, major collector, minor arterial, or principal arterial roadway under our ordinance in order for there to be a consideration by this body based on this ordinance for a 5-foot-high fence in this area. Field Site Drive does not meet the traffic count for that. It is considered to be a local road, so that qualifier is removed. And essentially what you have then is another test, and that is if he wants to claim a hardship or demonstrate a hardship under our ordinance 11-12-15D3, parts A through C, he has to show that the land in question cannot yield a reasonable return from any use permitted by the regulations of the district in which the land is located. The plight of the owner is due to the unique circumstances, not of the owner's own making, which unique circumstances must relate specifically to the land in question and not to general conditions in the neighborhood. And that means it has to be on the parcel itself, the condition. The use to be authorized by the variance will not alter the essential character of the locality of the land in question. So in looking at this, in particular, the first step, what we see is this area that I mentioned before, where the fence is outlying, and then you have the house, and then you have the fence adjoining here to the western boundary fence, is a total of 7,880 total square feet. The area here that would be governed by the variance is a total of 1,468 out of that 7,880 total. The remainder is 6,412 square feet for an area that could either have a 5-foot or 6-foot high fence, because remember the maximum is 6 feet. So what you have is approximately 81.4% of this entirety, of this whole fenced-in area as proposed. 81% of that is essentially going to be covered by having a 6-foot or 5-foot high fence. That leaves this remainder here, which is less than 20% that would have to comply with the ordinance at 4 feet. So staff, in looking at this, does not believe that the first step essentially of the test is involved in this instance. I mean, what we are looking at is that has not been met. The land in question cannot yield a reasonable return from any use permitted, in this case placing the fence, by the regulations of the district in which the land is located. There is an 80%, use, if you will, within the confines of the ordinance that would either be 5 or 6 feet in height for a fence. And the plight here, there is no plight per se that is already here on site that is causing a hardship. The use would be legal, but not at the height being requested. So essentially the test fails from the hardship angle. Now looking at precedents, these are the most recent cases, and these were cited in the past in other reports, rejecting fences that faced local roads. We've got 54 St. Anne Drive where a 5-foot high fence was requested, 7037 St. Anne Drive, same height requested, both in 2022 after we had the rewrite of the fence height ordinance. And then older cases, 2624 Roseville Avenue for 6 feet, 4287 for Happiness Lane for a 6-foot high fence, and then 4889 Allen Road for a 6-foot high fence. Again, these are all local roads on which these fences face. Staff in reviewing this would recommend denial of the 5-foot high fence request within the front yard setback facing Field Site Drive. And that's given the ordinance, again, 11-11B-12L, that does not include placement of a fence in a front yard along any other type of street unless it is a collector or an arterial street. And staff did not see any hardship in the petitioner's request under the hardship provisions within the zoning ordinance. There's still a great deal of usable ground for the petitioner to fence in at a maximum of 6 feet in height, and therefore we do not see a hardship presented. So staff would recommend that the fence be constructed to be no greater than 4 feet within the proposed setback area. I would ask, are there any questions?
Any questions at all from the commission? No. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor or opposed to this item? Seeing none, does anyone wish to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. Case 25-0012, deny the variance for a 5-foot high fence in that required front yard along Field Site.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Gallagher,
Yes,
Spranger,
Yes.
TNZ,
Yes.
Tomber.
Yes.
Vermillion.
Yes.
okay. Anything, Mike, anything else that has to come before us today?
No, just sorry, we didn't get to see many of you at the holiday little get together.
sorry about that.
But it was a chance for us to kind of maybe show a little bit of token of our appreciation, minor as it is, but for all the work you did over the past year, you did a great job. We really appreciate you. You had some really tough cases come before you, and you did a lot of work. So we appreciate you. A small little token has been left on your place there. Hope you enjoy that, and we got another year ahead of us.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much. Thanks for the city. Happy New Year to everybody.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
We're adjourned.